Oi, this is the Profanity Gnome, and I'm here to tell you that if you're under 13 years old, fuck off this video! Get the fuck off YouTube! Get your mama to get your dad's cock out of her ears and actually be a parent! This is for adults only! And for everybody else, enjoy the video. Vroom, 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 vroom.
Why does he still sound possessed?
He's not. That's just how he always acts behind the wheel of a car.
Why?
He got really into Mr. Toad's wild ride when he was a little kid. Are we all sure he should be doing this in the first place?
I know it seems like a bad idea, but he's actually a pretty competent driver.
Meow. Yeah, I'm with Leslie on this one. This seems like a really bad idea.
If anyone in this stadium has any regrets on driving, it's too late to change your minds now. Race begins in 3, 2, 1. This is Kuroyuri.
Oh! The episode begins with that weird Oscar Dorothy kid again. You know, the kid that had Ozpin stuck inside his head, as he begins to go on his journey to go to Mistral. Coincidentally, just happens to be the same place Ruby's headed to. Huh, who knew? Well, Ozpin's giving him all kinds of advice, saying that, yeah, you're destined to be me, and that means you're destined to be a hero, blah de blah blah blah. But there's only one thing standing in their way. Money. Yep, can't get a ride if you don't have the money for a ticket, but thankfully, big old Sleepyhead shows up. And he does the exact opposite of stranger danger. Instead of giving the kid free candy to get inside his van, he slams his fist on the terminal, popping out a free ticket for him. And then he just kinda wanders off, telling him, yeah, don't let such a minor inconvenience stop you on your journey through life, as he just kinda walks off. So, not really getting much of a villain vibe, but apparently Ozpin says he's dangerous.
It kind of feels like the villains are just twiddling their thumbs and buying their time before they're allowed to be evil.
Except for maybe Jared Leto earlier, none of the villains actually did anything this season.
We soon cut to the ruins of Kuroyuri, where Ruby and Jean are trying to find medicine in order to help their great Uncle Crow get better. But it doesn't look like this town's gonna be any more fruitful than anywhere else they found. And then we cut to a flashback. A flashback with Rem? Wow, I honestly didn't see that coming.
The writing was on the wall considering how much laser focus they've been giving Rem this season. But that might be due to other reasons which we'll get into in a bit. Anyway, we see his mom give him some cash because his father's coming home from a huntsman trip. So he starts going around to see if he could buy a gift for his father. But he can't seem to find the right shop to give him what he needs. But then, as he continues, he runs into a group of bullies bullying a Nora. Well, looks like they're giving him a conjoined flashback.
Okay, I'm keeping a good speed right now. As long as no one gets a mushroom, no one should be able to— Whoa!
I'm going to vroom vroom! I shall pass you in the name of Nazarick! So with the past trauma of being bullied in the fuel for shipping, Rem tries to figure out what she should do in this situation. So he decides maybe it's best to let bygones be bygones and run off. But lucky for, or unlucky for him, his father shows up at that exact moment, and his sheer presence causes Nora, as well as the bullies, to run away. And then he gives them a life lesson, telling him that sometimes the worst thing you can do is nothing at all. And then pretty much tells him to fuck off. And then we cut back to present day with Ruby, who is currently feeling the pressures of not being able to get what she needs for her Uncle Crow, and apologizes that she brought everybody down with her on this. And then, hold on, I'm gonna take over for a bit. Then Jean tells her, "Girl, you are so uninteresting that you had to be paired with us. Literally, you could not carry this show if it wasn't for us being around you. We are hell of a lot more interesting than you could ever be, Ruby."
I feel like that line was ad-libbed a bit.
Well, it's true. All the other girls manage to hold their own for the most part as they're working through the fall of Beacon. But Ruby's the only one also not working to improve herself, but also couldn't hold her own unless she had the accompaniment of other side characters that follow the hero's journey a lot better than she does.
Untrue. RWBY just simply lacks what is a core element to any good character, especially a protagonist. But it can still be given to her with the proper procedures. There are many elements to creating a good character, but we'll just focus on the big three: past, present, and future of that character. The past of the character is what drives that character, what motivates that character to be where they are today. RWBY has that. She simply wants to do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. The simplest motivation anyone could ever have. The present is her personality. How does her past define her as her character now? Or does it define her? She does have a personality. Upbeat, happy, always looking on the bright side even in the darkest of situations. Though there are some issues with this, it's still a solid personality for a solid protagonist. But where she lacks is future. Her ambitions, her goals. What are they? Even in the original show, they never gave her a proper goal to reach. What is her ambitions? What is she striving for? Why does she do the things she's doing in order to achieve whatever goal she has in mind? Whis, Blake, and Yang all have this ambition, this drive, this need to fulfill a goal. But RWBY doesn't have this. And for a main character to lack the ambition or a goal to strive to greatness is very detrimental to her character. This is why Jean, by comparison, is so much more of a better protagonist. Jean also tends to follow the hero's journey story much more effectively than anyone else in the series so far. But I do have high hopes for Oscar. We just need to see more of him. Well, we go back to the past, where Ren is sleeping, but then is forcibly woken up by his parents. Apparently, there's a Grim attack.
Yep, and his mother tells him there's nothing to worry about, right as the freaking house falls right on top of her head. Yeah, that didn't seem forced at all. But thankfully, Ren and his father survived. Yep, they're running, but for some reason the father falls, and he's unable to continue running. And then we get, what the hell is that?
That is definitely a boss battle.
Aye, this would be the first time we got a pretty solid look at the thing that's been building up this entire season. And, wow, that is pretty grim, even for Grimm. Well, after that, I can't wait to see what this thing's capable of. Anyway, Jean's dad, who I'm just gonna call Samurai Jack, because that's totally Old Man Samurai Jack, gives him a knife and tells him to run. Run and hide as he faces down one-on-one with this creature. We're going to assume he died. So, Rem finds a place to hide and wonders what to do next. His entire world just collapsed around him. But then he runs into Nora again, who's being pursued by a giant bird Grimm. Rem, remembering what his father told him about not acting, runs to her aid and gives her the comfort what she needs, as well as revealing what his semblance is. Apparently, it's a calming mechanism to mask emotions, which normally would seem pretty lame of a power, but apparently it's the perfect defense against hiding from Grimm. because they see through people's emotions. They're like emotion detectors, and with his semblance, he can hide even from that super monstrosity of a Grimm that clearly killed Rem's dad. But with nothing else to them, the two of them decide to work together, and thus the delightful pair of Rem and Nora have become shippable! Oh, God damn it. Oh, and what the hell is that idiot doing?
It looks like he somehow got himself turned around and is now driving backwards.
We later cut back to Power Couple as Nora discovers a hidden cave. Rem discovers a banner that they found from a previous village, but that's over a week's journey away. They go inside and discover a large room filled with rusty old weapons.
This isn't just any old room filled with rusty weapons.
Then what is it?
This is a trophy room. I'm sorry, what? A trophy room. This is where someone would acquire certain treasures from their conquest and put them on display. As Rem discovers an arrow that his father would use, as well as Nora discovering that giant hoofprint again. This is the Cave of the Beast. Yep. And it looks like it's on the prowl, going after Ruby and Jean.
And this is where the episode ends. Suspensefully!
And that was Kuroyuri, or however that's pronounced. I don't know, I don't have Moonspeak on Google Translate. It mostly amounts to just a flashback episode for Rem and Nora delivering the backstories, building up to what we can only assume is going to be a triumphant fight on personal stakes for Rem in particular, since this will be the Grimm that took his parents.
And all the shipping. Oh, the shared backstory. A love connection from childhood. Don't make us get the taser. But yeah, the episode was smart to leave us on a literal cliffhanger. But the one thing that we haven't mentioned too much of in this episode was that beginning with Oscar. We're going to have to wait and see if anything develops good for him. But if he's got Osmond in his head, then we can only assume that he's destined for something, right?
He'll join the crew eventually, just not immediately. Probably wait till next season.
So, with everything we've got this episode, this is the Cartoon Gentlemen, the organizers of chaos, or disorganizer in this case. Gent, remember to stay on the track! Primary threat neutralized. Returning control to drone number 5406. Pursuing primary objective. Cartoon Gentlemen.